আজকে সেকেন্ড টপিক যেটা হবে সেটা হচ্ছে যে does it stick completely to the patriarchal form? The answer is both yes and no. Yes, from a cursory glance it looks that Sir Philip Sidney sticks to that Petrarchan Elizabethan form as it is divided into octave and sestet structure. The beloved is there. She is deified and raised to the status of a muse and goddess. Subjective element can also be pointed out. So these singularity of thought, so all these features are Elizabethan and they are there. But again, there are some variations, as T.S. Eliot says in his book Tradition and Individual Talent, meaning there must be a mingling of tradition and at the same time you should input some of your individuality, which Sidney has done. What he has done? First thing first, if we go through the sonnet, you will find that the rhyme scheme here is different. It's not a Petrarchan rhyme scheme like ABBA, BBA, CD, CD or CD, CD, CD. Rather, it has a peculiar rhyme structure: ABAB, ABAB, CD, CD, EE, which is something new. Number two, Sidney deploys Alexandrine, that is 12 syllable lines, whereas normally Petrarchan sonnets stick to conventional 10 syllable lines. Apparently, this was done deliberately to convey his grave tragic sense, to emphasize the idea that he is not writing for writing's sake to be famous. The incident he is reporting is his own realization, his own epiphany. Number three, it deviates from the conventional Elizabethan sonnet because it doesn't have that ornamentational rhetorical devices. Here the rhetorical devices are there. Here the rhetorical devices are there. But the rhetorical devices are there as a functional element. If you cannot relate the meaning of the rhetorical devices, the implication of the rhetorical devices, simile, metaphor, personification, one will never be able to understand the theme of the poem. So it's normal. So unlike the Petrarchan sonnet where the rhetorical elements are ornamental, that is you can separate the chaff from the grain, Sidney's sonnet is a unified whole. It's an organic poem where nothing is extravagant, nothing can be separated from anything. This is also a peculiar deviation from the Elizabethan sonnet. And the another most important thing is that in the Elizabethan sonnet, the poet relies on the theme of amour or love, as if there is nothing to write except love. And that is, it's a hackneyed tradition that has become quite hackneyed, a system of boredom. So Sidney here tries to bring kind of revolution. He doesn't want to confine his sonnet into a particular theme. That is, this sonnet obviously is a love sonnet, but it is something beyond that. It is a love sonnet, but at the same time, it's a poem about the art of writing poetry, like Horace's Ars Poetica. He incorporates the idea of poetic creation, the idea of originality in art, the idea of plagiarism. So various elements are there mingled, and except Shakespeare, nowhere you will find this kind of varied elements in the sonnet. And the last point is that the sonnet ends with a kind of couplet, a Greco-Roman couplet, and which again raises some doubt about the subjectivity and authenticity of the whole story. Is it really subjective, or the poet, like Shakespeare, is creating a persona and hiding behind that? অর্থাৎ যেটা আমি বলতে চাইছি যে সিডনির যে যন্ত্রণার কথা লিখেছেন, আমরা যখন লাস্ট কাপলেট গ্রিকো রোমান কাপলেটে চলে আসব, তখন সত্যি প্রশ্ন জাগবে যে এটা সত্যি একটা কাল্পনিক গল্প নাকি এটা সাবজেক্টিভ অটোবায়োগ্রাফিক্যাল একটা এলিমেন্ট। তিনিও কি শেক্সপিয়ারের যেমন করেছেন তার সনেটে যে একটা মাস্কের পিছনে মুখ ঢেকেছেন, নাকি রিয়েলি হি ওয়াজ expressing his own pangs? The doubt is there, the answer is open. Today my third topic. Sir Philip Sidney, you must read about his life in your book of history of English literature, because Sidney is a varied personality, multi-talented genius. He was educated at Christ Church College at Oxford, and his father was the governor of Wales. His uncle Robert Dudley was the Earl of Leicester and Queen Elizabeth's personal friend. Not only that, he traveled Europe and possibly come in close contact with Renaissance Italy, and later he was elected a cup bearer of the Queen, which is quite a prestigious position at that time. So he is a parliamentarian, a statesman, a politician, an artist, a writer, a poet, a critic. So it's a peculiar combination. As if he manifests a totalitarian Renaissance concept of humanity. He has an unfortunate death at the Battle of Zutphen, and he was buried at St. Paul's Cathedral in London on February 16, 1587. There is a myth related to his story which might be known to all, that thy need is greater than mine. That is possibly in Battle of Zutphen, Sidney was fighting. With him there was a ordinary soldier, and both of them were wounded. That ordinary soldier was crying for water. Fortunately, Sidney still have some drops of water, and he offered the soldier that water, but obviously the soldier is horrified and says that thy life is greater than mine. But Sidney realized that he has got a fatal, mortal wound which will end in death, and whether he drinks water or not, it will never make any difference. So he replied to the soldier that thy need is greater than mine. অর্থাৎ তুমি যদি জলটা খাও, সম্ভাবনা রয়েছে তুমি বেঁচে যেতে পারো, আর আমি জল খাই বা না খাই, আমাকে বাঁচানোর ক্ষমতা কারণ নেই। So all these things actually, myths and stories or rumor, everything was there. প্রেম ছাড়া পৃথিবীতে কোনো সাধনা নেই। আপনি যে সাবজেক্টকে পড়ছেন, যে পরীক্ষা দিচ্ছেন, এই সাবজেক্টের সাথে প্রেম করুন, এই পড়াটার সাথে প্রেম করুন, এই চাকরি পাওয়ার লড়াইটার সাথে প্রেম করুন, ভেঙে পড়বেন না, প্রেমে পাগল হয়ে যান। যেমন মহাপ্রভু পাগল হয়ে গেছিলেন প্রেমে, ঈশ্বরের প্রেমে, সেরকম আপনিও পাগল হয়ে যান। ব্যাস, সহজকে সহজভাবেই নিন। যেটা আপনার আয়ত্তের মধ্যে নেই সেটা নিয়ে ভাববেন না। আপনার একমাত্র হাতে রয়েছে চেষ্টা করা, ডু দ্যাট, বাকিটা তার উপরে ছেড়ে দিন। যিনি আপনাকে সৃষ্টি করেছেন, সবার জীবনেই কিন্তু সুযোগ আসবে, আসেও। আমরা সেই সুযোগটা সদ্ব্যবহার করতে পারি না, কারণ আমরা আনপ্রিপেয়ার থাকি। সমস্যা আছে, তার সমাধানও আছে, শুধু নিজেকে মোটিভেট করা। হতাশায়, আগের দিন বলেছিলাম যে ক্রিশ্চিয়ানিটিতে বলা হয় যে ফ্রাস্ট্রেশন, যে সিন, হতাশা একটা পাপ। তো হতাশার পাপে নিজেকে না ডুবিয়ে বেরিয়ে আসুন। আর একবার ফাইট, ফাইট কোনি ফাইট, আর একটা ফাইট।